Alright, what is up, Jones? Today we are back with another creature overview on Dinosaur Arcade, and as you can see, we are doing T-Rex, because T-Rex is probably one of the more popular creatures in the game, especially given that T-Rex is super popular outside of Dinosaur Arcade. It's obviously the most popular dinosaur, ever. And I feel I see T-Rex a lot, so I just decided to do Rex because not only is it super popular outside of Dinosaur Arcade, it's also one of the better creatures in Dinosaur Arcade, with a very, very good niche for itself, and just in general, very, very useful, and I guess basically everything that you can think of in the meta in some way or another. So yeah, let's get into it. First thing I think that we should probably discuss on Rex is its skins, because not all of its skins are the same, and what I mean by that is they have different ranges, and some of them have different benefits over the others. So we'll just go in order of worst to best. Glut is by far the worst. It has the least range. It's pretty blatantly enormous, so you can't even try to be stealthy with it, which is stupid if you want to do that on a Rex, but there is always an option to be stealthy, and Glut makes it way harder because it's enormous. It's just the worst, and I don't think there's a reason to use it over any of the other options, to be honest. Next, from second worst, is regular Rex, and regular Rex, its range is completely fine. It's obviously the standard for Rex. These next two are interchangeable. We have Frost Baron, which has slightly more range than Animatronic Rex, and Animatronic Rex, which has negligibly less range, but it can stand up and sit down super quick. In my opinion, those are the two best Rex skins, and obviously you can use whatever you want, but for combat, I think that maximizing your benefits over other Rexes potentially is a must. And I think that Frost Baron and Animatronic Rex both have unique attributes to them that are useful. Frost Baron has the most range of any Rex skin, whilst Animatronic Rex has slightly less range, but can stand up and sit down super quickly. So it's kind of just what you want to use them for. If you want to use Rex as a staller, which is really stupid, but you can do that. You can do that with Animatronic Rex. If you want to use it as attack on damage support, Animatronic Rex is really good. If you want to use it as a main breaker, then Frost Baron's probably really good. So yeah, not a whole lot to say on them. It's just Glut is by far the worst, whilst the Animatronic Rex and Frost Baron are, pretty blatantly the best. Regular Rex isn't bad, I should say that. You can use it if you want. It's just I think that Frost Baron and Animatronic Rex are just better. So next we have Rex's abilities, and Rex's abilities are, in my opinion, some of the best in the entire game. Mainly because Rex's abilities synergize very, very well with its stat spread. So its first ability is called Charge, and the description for it is charge forward in the direction you are facing at 150% sprint speed for 3 seconds, dealing 45% base damage every 0.2 seconds to anyone hit in the range. And that's not great. That's not what makes Rex's kit really good. That part is, it does decent damage. The speed part is kind of bad, and I personally wouldn't use it for mobility because it's negligible. You can't notice it at all, especially if you are using a build where Rex's speed is decreased. You're really not going to notice it very much. Next we have Stomp, and the description for this is stomp the ground to create an AoE shockwave dealing however much damage you do, which is 120% of your base damage, and stunning the enemy for 1.5 seconds. This is super good because it combos very well into Rex's third ability, its armor-piercing bite. And the description for that is putting energy into a huge bite, dealing 80 true damage, 200% of your base damage. You are slowed, you as in the player that used armor-piercing bite is slowed by 50% movement speed whilst performing the bite. So you're trading a giant amount of damage that can't be negated by armor for being slowed by 50%. And more or less, you're never, ever, ever going to be penalized for getting slowed by using it, because the risk to reward is enormous. Now, in this Styra video, someone was trying to use this as an example as to why certain abilities that can hit your friends can be good. And I agree, but when it's compared to Styro's Skewer, the risk to reward on Rex's True Bite, accidentally hitting your friend compared to accidentally hitting an enemy, is absolutely enormous. 80 damage is a ton of damage. It's a ton. And especially if you're running a damage centralized build, you're chunking something for a lot of health. If it's a mid tier, that's like a quarter of their health gone. If it has 400 health, like it's Suko base health or something, that's a quarter of its health gone in one attack. Now the issue with is you can hit your friends with it, but I think that the risk to reward on it is like enormous. And what makes it so much better is you can combo your stun into your armor piercing bite. So when that happens, you're chunking someone's HP. So if I were to land a stomp on something, let's take armor into consideration, and let's say for my Rex specifically, it will do like, let's say 30 damage. Then I true bite them for 80, because, you know, defense doesn't need to be taken into consideration for the true bite. That's like a quarter of, or not a quarter, but a large chunk of an Apex's health instantly gone. That's like a giant reward. However, you have to be very careful using Armor Piercing Bite because you can hit your friends with it. Rex's other two abilities aren't Friendly Fire. Its third ability, obviously Armor Piercing Bite, is. But the risk to reward is so massive that it really does not matter at all, in my opinion. Getting into Rex's base stats and what I recommend as builds for Rex, hopping straight into its health. 600 base health is very fat and very good. Rex's 40 damage is insane combined with its abilities. It makes it so Rex's damage output is super high. Its DPS constantly is always going to be very, very good. 20 armor is also just very, very solid. It's pretty middle of the pack, but for Rex's already high HP pool, it's very serviceable. And 15 walk is just fine. Rex's walk is completely fine. Its sprint is fine. It's really just serviceable. It doesn't need to be fast unless you build it to be fast. And yeah, not much to say about it other than that. Now, for my recommended builds, there's 3 main builds that I see with a lot of use for Rex, and then I will cover some ones that I think could have potential in very niche situations. So, the first build is max damage. Rex already has a very, very good damage output. Maximizing it makes it even better. It's just a no-brainer. You should be wanting to negate your armor. And not your health and not your speed, mostly just your armor. As for the speed build, which is the second build I recommend, you should want to negate your armor as well, and not your damage and health, because those are important on Rex. Your armor really isn't. And the third build that I see being used sometimes is HP, and I think HP is very, very niche, and if you're using HP, in my opinion, you should probably be negating speed, since you're just mostly like maximizing Rex's survivability and damage output with health. Now, the last build, this is going to be super niche, but I think jump height could have very, very niche applications against certain members of the meta, specifically Brack, Parasaur, and Megatherium. So I don't know specifically how high Rex's jump is with a jump height build, but I think that it might, a keyword might, don't take my word on this as fact, might be able to jump over a Brack and Parasaur Stomp. And if that's the case, then that like just instantly makes Rex very, very good at dealing with Brack and Parasaur because of its very high damage output and True Bite and Stun. Rex is already very, very good against Megatherium, as Megatherium currently is in terms of war situations, because you're able to break its wall very, very quickly, and Megatherium's main viability comes from its wall. Its wall amplifies its armor, its wall allows it to heal itself, its wall amplifies its teammates' armor. The heal also is a big factor, which Rex can hopefully, in most scenarios, can burn down Megatherium's healed health, and the high jump height might make it so that you're able to jump over the wall. Not completely jump clear it, as in like jump to like try to get to a ledge or something so that you can completely jump out. But yeah, Rex is just really, really good, and its builds can be very, very versatile. It has a lot of different applications to it. It's got a good matchup against basically everything other than Dodorex and Rhino, and those are the two best creatures in the entire game right now. And it's good against Megatherium, which is arguably the best creature in the game right now. So, and this video is being made pre-Megatherium nerf, so take that into consideration. So I'm going to be adding a new part to these videos where I scale a creature from 1 to 10 based on how viable it is and how good I think it is. And 1 is basically this creature has absolutely zero use in the meta and you shouldn't use it at all. It's like fundamentally horrible and you shouldn't use it like at all. And 10 is like this creature is absolutely meta defining. Nothing can beat it. There's no counter. It's absolutely just broken and there's nothing you can do about it. That being said, I'd give Rex like a 7.5. Rex is by far one of the best creatures in the meta in my opinion. I think it's heavily underused, and I think that its damage output, especially with certain builds, is absolutely insane. And its survivability with other builds is also absolutely insane. And I very much think it is completely underrated and underutilized by most people who do wars. But that could just be because of the very, very bad matchup against Dodorex and Rhino, and Spino as well. Spino is also a very, very difficult matchup for Rex. But that being said, I think it's definitely one of the better creatures in the meta at the moment.